Hi, I'm Jillian Jess with MouthpieceSports.com. I'm here on the cool set of Richard Roeper, movie critics at the movies. Richard, I'm here to talk to you about the 5 best and worst sports movies.
All right.
So,
you want to hear my great roster? Let me tell you something. You know, there's been a lot of sports movies that have come out in recent years, but most of my all-time favorites, Jillian, are some of the classics from years gone by. For example, Hoosiers, I think is still the best basketball movie ever done. In fact, you always hear about these coaches who play scenes from Hoosiers before big games, and it's just because it's that universal story of the underdog, and you gotta love that. So Hoosiers for sure. Field of Dreams, which of course is as much about father-son relationships and family as it is about baseball. But again, you know, all those iconic images we all remember from it when the guys are coming out of the cornfield and all that great stuff. Kevin Costner. And then, of course, we have Raging Bull, which to me is a more serious sports film, and again, a film about family dynamic. In this case, you know, 2 brothers who have this love-hate relationship. But you know, Scorsese's black and white direction is so incredible there, and because of the black and white photography and the intensity of the scenes, it's not as violent as other boxing movies, but it seems like it is. It seems even more brutal. You mean you really get to feel those punches. So of course, you know, De Niro won the Oscar for playing Jake LaMotta. Great boxing film. 2 favorite sports movies of all times, and I kind of interchange these between this one's my second favorite, one's my favorite. At this point, I have equal love for both of them. The Natural, which is like a fairy tale about baseball. Yeah, Robert Redford, who, you know, unlike a lot of actors who play in sports movies, and we'll talk about some of these guys in a moment, he actually looks like he can play. You know, he played a little baseball in college, so he looks like he's got a good batting stance and, you know, good throwing arm. And it's just such a wonderful fable about baseball. I mean, it's really just sort of like a metaphor for American life. And, you know, the great score from Randy Newman and the classic ending. I mean, how could you not tear up seeing The Natural? And my other favorite is Rocky, which is another great underdog story. I mean, I think you see a theme in some of the best sports movies. It's almost always about, we really have to root for the character, whether it's a team or an individual like Rocky Balboa. And the original Rocky, you go back, I mean, some of the other Rocky films got a little silly, but the original Rocky, it's such a great story and such a, you know, fantastic underdog story. It's been around for 30 years now, and I've seen it probably 20 times, and I'm still rooting for him against Apollo Creed at the end, you know. I love it, love that movie.
So now, of those 5 movies, there's so many sports movies, but 2 of them you chose as boxing movies. Now, do you feel like, since it's a largely individual sport, that it's easy for people to relate and draw such an attraction?
Yeah, I do actually. I think sometimes with the team sport movies, they all kind of run into another, you know, one seems a lot like the other one. The underdog team, and they all get together in the locker room, and sometimes I don't even know which player, especially in the uniform sports. If you're watching like a football movie, you know, who are we rooting for? You know, boxing, you're almost literally naked, you're out there, it's one man against another man, so you have one character to really identify with, and I think that's what makes the best boxing movie so strong.
Right, you said how Rocky, the first Rocky, kind of still moves you. Both seem to be characters that are coming out of a troubled life and make something big. But boxing overall, it's big in the theaters, but it doesn't receive much national attention, the sport itself. Do you think in the future, just the more boxing movies we see?
Well, I think, you know, it's a good question, because, you know, it used to be that the drama in real life boxing matches was equal to what we'd see in the movies. I mean, you know, Sylvester Stallone was inspired by a boxer by the name of Chuck Wepner, who went almost, you know, all the way against Muhammad Ali, didn't win the fight, but he was inspired by real life battles, and we don't see enough of that anymore in the real life boxing arena.
All right, well, stay tuned for more with Richard Roeper.